Alright guys, here's a bit of a different video. Might come as a shocker. How many people know what that is? It's a VHS player, VCR. As you can tell from previous videos of mine, I like fucking with old chainsaws and Briggs and Stratton engines, Tecumseh engines. Yes, my garage is a mess. I like RC cars. Clearly, I have a thing for old Honda four-wheelers and dirt bikes. Also like radio-controlled airplanes. I do more building than flying. I've flown a couple times, but it's more of get fucking junk like this and fix them up. Yeah, my garage is a fucking mess right now. But yeah, to see VHS repair on this channel might be a little bit different. I do VHS repair and a little bit of DVD player work, but I don't do how-to videos on the stuff because I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing, if that makes sense. I understand how all the shit works, well, from the mechanical side of it and the timing and the maintenance side, but as far as knowing exactly what that capacitor does, or what it's for, or what that is, that little green and red looking thing, couldn't tell you. That little black looking chip thing, I don't know what that is. Couldn't tell you. Basically, when it comes to VHS repair, I'm looking at the mechanical side of it, cleaning things up, lubricating things, cleaning the mode switch or rotary encoder switch, and that's my VHS repair. 90% of the time I get a non-working unit. I take it apart and service it, replace the belts, and make sure it's timed properly, clean the rotary encoder switch or mode switch, or replace the parts that are damaged or broken. Most of the time that will fix the units. A lot of times I'll get a unit where somebody's forced a VHS in and broke a gear or something, and I'll figure that out. And if I have a parts unit like that, I will switch out the part and service the machine, and it'll work fine. This is a lost trade. This is a lost art. So, I mean, everything that I know, everything that I've learned how to do comes from reading books and watching YouTube videos. Now, I don't go into full-blown repair like some guys on YouTube do. I don't have a oscilloscope, whatever that's called. I don't get in here with a multimeter or a test light, and, well, I lied. I've used a test light on these a couple times. But I don't go that far into it because that is above my skill set. And, believe it or not, working on this shit, it's dangerous. I mean, capacitors, I think they're called capacitors, they store energy for a long time, and some of these units, like, it could be enough to fucking stop your heart. So, I mean, I ended up setting one of these older units. You can tell this is an older unit by the transformer and just how robust it looks. I ended up setting one of these units on a tool cart that had a metal lid, and as soon as I sat it down, it sparked, and it was a capacitor discharging or shorting out on the fucking toolbox lid. But yeah, as a lot of people know, I'm a mechanic. I work in a tractor repair shop, and we also do small engines. Sorry, my boss just texted me. May or may not have played hooky. So, I mean, I'm working on tractors and small engines. Monday through Friday, and lately I've been doing Saturdays. And then I come home, and before I go to bed, I'm working on my own stuff. Like, I got a Husqvarna 345 project, and I'm working on getting parts together for a 350. This 440 is getting traded tomorrow, and then I got that 41. I mean, so it's like I go to work and I'm working on the shit, and I come home and I fuck with this stuff. And yesterday, I realized that I am fucking burnt out on all the small engine shit. And I ended up getting this book off eBay. It's real cheap. Started flipping through it, and then ended up looking at some parts units on eBay, broken VHS players, and I was like, man, I really miss working on this stuff. And tonight I decided to dig out my shit. Can tell you how I got started on all the stuff. About 5 years ago, we had a Magnavox VCR DVD combo unit, like these. This is actually Sylvania, and this is Philips. And I'll do a couple comparison videos later on in life. They're actually made by the same company with just different names. A lot of parts interchange. You know, if I needed a belt for this machine, or a motor, or some gears, I could take them from this machine and put them in here. Now, these are just cheap throwaway units. If they take a shit, you throw them away. They're not made to be serviced. They're not made to be repaired. But anyway, we had one of them, and my daughter was wanting to watch Toy Story one day, and I go to plug the machine in, and it didn't do anything. It was dead. Didn't light up, didn't take a tape, nothing. Took it apart, and you know, it was, fuck, I didn't know what this stuff was. I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. I mean, you got a wire, you got a little thingy here that spins, and yeah, I know all this stuff has a purpose, but this was not my cup of tea. I don't have the experience. I don't know what that gear does. So I was like, okay, well, this is above my head. So I threw the unit away in a dumpster. Bought 2 or 3 from the thrift store. They all had the same problem. They ate tapes and couldn't return them. So I ended up putting them on a shelf. Ended up buying a working unit off eBay for $80, and it was about a week later. I ended up taking out the trash to the dumpster. We lived in an apartment complex, and it was still laying outside by the dumpster with some other shit people are throwing out that they can't throw in the dumpster. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. So I picked it up and I brought it back inside, took it apart again, and I started out on YouTube. Just like everything else I do. I YouTubed how does a VCR work, and that's where it started. I figured out how they worked, and then I started watching repair videos and other videos, and I eventually figured out that I had a power supply issue and it wasn't really worth fucking with. And a lot of those, this here machine is actually part of that first machine. The motherboard is from that unit. I ended up replacing a couple of capacitors and a transformer. Bam, it worked. It just started from there. We went to a yard sale and I found a similar unit. I was like, well, it's Magnavox, it looks the same. So I bought it for $3 or $4. Brought it home. Watched some YouTube videos, figured out what it was doing. Took it apart, and it took about 3 days to actually figure out what was wrong with it, and then from there I kept getting quicker at it, figuring out what's wrong with them and putting them back together. And it got to a point to where I can grab one of these units, take it apart, service it, and get it back to operating condition within about 2 hours. And I ended up buying units off eBay, Craigslist, Facebook, fixing them. I ended up having a contract with a store in Chicago where I was selling him units for a set price, and he'd send me his junk, and I was making money, and I was getting junk on the side. So, but yeah, this video just got all fucked. So basically, what I'm saying is I'm burnt out on all the small engine shit. I do it at work and I'm doing it at home. And yeah, it's burnt out on it, and I drug out my other shit. I actually have stacks and stacks of VHS players and VHS DVD combos in the shed. I'm going to be bringing them in tomorrow morning, and they're going to get stacked right up on this wall. I'm basically fed up with working on the small engine shit for now. A lot of the small engine shit is going out in the shed. Still waiting on some parts. What's definitely going to get done is definitely the 345 Model 41. Those are going to get put together and repaired, made to run. That 440 and the steel chainsaw, I'm actually trading those off for a generator tomorrow. Basically, I got enough VCRs and shit that I can bring them in here, start assessing them, and get back into another hobby of mine without spending much money. 'Cause, I mean, like this here unit, this is one of my favorite units, and it took a shit. It has sound, it worked, and then the video just fucking went out. I believe it's got something to do with the video head. I've tried cleaning them, that didn't help. Still got had perfect audio, and then it just there's just no picture. And the more reading I do and videos that I watch on YouTube, I think they're called filters. Yeah, filters. But basically, I don't have the tools or the equipment I need to diagnose this machine. I ended up throwing in a tape, and now I got the problem of where it takes a tape, but these guides don't move, and the video drum does not rotate. So I think my belts are bad. It needs to be serviced and lubricated. So unfortunately, this here unit, I don't have the skill set for it or the tools or the equipment to do this job right now. Also, I noticed somebody put in a capacitor. This is not factory. Put a little piece of double-sided tape down to keep it from shorting out. So somebody's been in here before. Someday I will be able to figure out this machine and fix it. This is just more than mechanical. This is like electronic issues. But yeah, basically this is burnout on the small engine shit, and I'm going back to one of my old hobbies. Yeah, it's actually excited. I can't wait. But yeah, this video is like 14 minutes. Probably won't even upload. Son of a bitch.